Very good afternoon to everyone. I am Ekta Shah from Ethica Insurance Broking, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to today's exciting session on ChatGPT hacks, transforming your professional toolkit. So, in our fast evolving professional world, staying ahead means mastering new tools and techniques. And today we are going to dive into one of the most transformative technologies, ChatGPT. So, whether it's creating presentation, enhancing your communication, or boosting overall work efficiency, ChatGPT is here to revolutionize the way you work. So, guiding us through this journey is someone who truly understands the intersection of technology, marketing, and education. So, I am thrilled to introduce our expert for today, Mr. Vishal Singh Kuthil. Vishal is co-founder and head of marketing and tech at Orange Slates, with over 20 years of rich experience working with top brands like Vodafone, Z Group, and University of Cambridge. Vishal has been instrumental in upskilling our over 75,000 professionals in technology, content, communication, and AI. So today he is here to share the invaluable insights and hands-on on techniques. So before we dive into, we are launching a quick poll to get a sense of a current familiar with AI tools. So please take a moment to participate. It will help us to evaluate the responses. So the poll is live on your screen. So please participate in this particular poll. So once this poll will be on till 2 minutes, you can take a moment and you can fill in the details in this particular poll. And once the polls are closed, we will hand over the session to Vishal and he will take ahead the session towards it.
Thank you, Ekta. Thank you for a lovely introduction. Welcome, everyone, to this session on Chat GPT hacks and how it can help you transform your professional toolkit. Uh, for today's session, we're going to focus on specifically Chat GPT. And in addition, we'll use some other tools as well, time permitting. We will focus on assuming there is a mixed crowd of people who have either never used ChatGPT to people who have used extensively in their workplace. Now, depending on which side of the spectrum you fall on, if you are new, great, you'll get to learn a lot of new things in the session today. And if you're someone on the experience side, we would expect you to interact, give your suggestions, give your opinions on how it has helped you in your workplace as well. My name is Vishal Patel, and as Ekta has already introduced us, we're a company which is into education technology. We work in the space of training educators and other corporate uh, partners as well. All right. So today's outline, what are we going to cover today? One is, what is ChatGPT? I'm sure you have heard of it enough number of times. It rolls very easily on the tongue, ChatGPT, but what is it? We will do a very simple and a non-technical understanding of what ChatGPT means, what it comprises of, and how it can help you in your work life, in your work environment. We'll then get into what are the best practices in terms of prompting. If you've heard of the term prompting, great. If you haven't, still don't worry. We'll get into what prompts are and how you can elicit the best responses and you can make this magnificent technology really work for you. Next, the most important and the time-consuming activity in our lives is emails. Checking emails, responding to emails, following up on emails. Now, can we reduce the amount of time it takes to do this activity on a daily basis? Can we use ChatGPT and other tools to reduce the time, effort required, but also start sounding more professional, more accurate, less mistakes? Because communication is what kind of builds our image when we talk to our own teams or to our clients or to our partners. So this is an important tool for us to kind of master. Then the second, probably the most time-consuming activity is creating presentations. I don't know how many of you like creating presentations, or I used to hate it, to be very honest. The amount of time it took to create presentations, create the content, and then design and then iterate and all. So can we just get the creation part automated or reduced effort through ChatGPT and other technologies out there, and then just focus on the presenting part of it? We'll look at that as well. Then we look at some other various use cases depending on uh, what we saw on the poll. So summarizing information, creating project related information dashboards, uh, summarizing texts, and anything else that time permits. We will look into those tools as well. And last but not the least, the most important part of the ethical use of AI in our workplace. What are the do's and don'ts? What are the pitfalls and how to avoid those pitfalls of using AI? And then if time remains, we'll be open for any questions that you might want to ask, right? Okay, so what is ChatGPT? Now, in very, very simple and plain simple terms, ChatGPT is a conversational AI tool, and that's what the term chat means in it. So it is designed to act and respond like a human being. Uh, any question that you ask of it, it will respond in the tone and manner that you ask and will respond in that particular sense. The other three parts are GPT. What do they stand for? They stand for generative, pre-trained, transformer. Now you don't need to worry if you're not from a technical background. Do I need to understand these? You don't, but it's good to know. So generative typically means it generates human-like content. Now, if you ask to create content in any other tool, this is designed to talk to you like a human being, and the entire ChatGPT tool is conversational in that sense. Pre-trained, that means like any other artificial intelligence tool, it is trained on massive amount of data available through articles, web data, books, and other scholarly data as well. So imagine if you have to use just a search function on Google to create particular report, how much content would you be able to parse through? How much content can you actually consume on your own to be able to reduce and get to the right output? Now, just extrapolate that by a million times, and that's what probably ChatGPT does. So it extracts all that knowledge, all that information from across the web and brings it to you in the format that you require. So it has been trained on a lot of data points, a lot of text to give you the best responses that it can. And the last term is it's a transformer. Just it basically is a kind of a neural network which it simulates how a typical human brain works, but it's a technology that allows it to work and be really good at using human-like language. So that's all the technical talk that we're going to do today, just for you to understand what ChatGPT is. Right now, is it the only tool out there? No, it isn't. There are multiple other tools that you can also use. I'm sure most of you would have heard of it. So Gemini is released by Google, Perplexity, Copilot typically used by developers, and Claude. And there are a lot more tools out there in the market, but for the sake of today's simplicity, we're going to focus mostly on ChatGPT as a tool. In our practice, uh, personally myself, if I need to create any content, if I need to do any work, I typically use both Gemini and ChatGPT, and based on what serves the purpose, I pick and choose. Sometimes I match the content from both, but it's good to use a couple of both the tools. There are slight differences between all of them. So ChatGPT 4.0, which is the latest paid version, and 3.5, which is the unpaid version, they typically use data which was there on the web available, I think, till September 2021. So you might not find the latest content out there using ChatGPT. In that sense, Gemini, Google is slightly more updated. It also gives you search results which you can use. But in terms of accuracy of content and the quality of content, I've always found ChatGPT giving slightly better results. Now, it depends on what is your use case, the way you want to use it. Pick and choose between all and see the one that suits your requirement the most, right? Okay, so if you were to explain this to a small child, what is ChatGPT or what is any Gen AI tool, or Imagine it's like a genie, right? Now, it can fulfill any wish that you ask of it. But as the saying goes, be careful what you wish for, right? And this kind of a meme tries to reflect that idea that to get the best out of this genie, you need to be able to ask the right questions. If you don't ask the right questions, you will not get the right responses. Like most data-based systems across history, there's a logic called GIGO. I think most of the IT professionals here would agree, is garbage in, garbage out. You don't ask the right questions, you won't get the right answers. The key of today's session is to help you understand, help you break down that what is the format in which I need to ask questions, ask ChatGPT to do the task, so I get what I want out of it. And that's the core crux of today's session, right? And then we will see how we can apply it into other different use cases. Okay. So when you say questions, it is basically a prompt. You would have heard of this new discipline called prompt engineering as well. It is basically the art of writing the right questions, the right statements, so you elicit the correct response. Now, it is very important for you to understand what is the right way of asking ChatGPT the right questions and how to structure it. What are the important things? What are the best practices? And once you get a hack of writing the right, asking the right prompts, you would get unimaginably great output as well, right? So as I said, it's a conversational tool. So your prompts are also conversational in that sense. They can be, right? So let's just dive into the best practices of what it takes to write the right prompt. Now, before we get into that, can I ask everyone to just write a prompt in the chat box for, let's say, a task of I want to create uh, a short report on India's performance at Olympics. Now, can you just quickly, the way you do it right now, if you're not uh, understood anything else, how would you create a short report? How would you ask ChatGPT to create a short report on uh, India's performance at Olympics 2024? If if you could just quickly, yeah. So I got only one response. How did India perform in Olympics? Great, great response. Anybody else would like to try differently? India and Olympics 2024. Great. Anybody else would like to attempt? What could be a great prompt? Give me a short report on the Olympics. Great. Wonderful. Great. So what I understand, most of you agree that it is you already understand the objective. And I want a report, and you're giving a context, Olympics, performance in Olympics by India, right? And the ask, the prompt, you can uh, word it like, give me the report, create a report, suggest, give me a summary, can you make me understand, can you help me understand? These are all asks, these are all prompts that you're giving. So I like the fact that all of you are trying different ways of creating. I think there's one who has given a very long detailed prompt as well, analyze the performance of Indian athletes. Great. Mr. Udit, wonderful prompt. Let's help others also understand how to create this the right kind of prompt that can help you elicit the right response. So now these are the best practices that have been suggested by OpenAI, the organization that has launched ChatGPT, the ones who created this particular tool. Is you need to be very, very specific and clear in what you ask of ChatGPT. Now, I'm going to quickly run through all the best practices. Then we'll go into an example of each of the best practices, so you will be able to visualize and understand what I typically mean by these best practices. Yes. Second, you need to provide a context. So when I said create a report, I was being specific that it is a report, but you have to give context as well. That this report is for India's performance in Olympic 2024, right? It also helps creating a persona and understanding the target audience. Now, persona typically means how would you want Chat GPT to behave or think or be like while giving the response? Now, do you want it to have the persona of a sports reporter? Do you want to have it to have the persona of an athlete within the contingent, or do you want it to have the persona of, let's say, the management of the sports ministry, that how would they understand India's performance? So that persona in which you want Chat GPT to respond is very, very important for you to mention in your prompts. Then the target audience. Who is the report meant for? Who is the audience that the output would you want to go through? Is it meant for? Is it for school students? Is it for your family? Is it for a news article? Is it for a blog? So you need to be clear that the output that you're asking Chat GPT to create, who would be the person consuming it, right? Next, the tone and style. Now, if you understand what we're going through, these practices are basically trying to assume Chat GPT is a human. Think of it like your genie or your personal assistant, and the directions you're giving it to, that be this person, think like this, talk in this manner, is what you're trying to train the Chat GPT on behaving like. Another great best practice is to give examples. Now, if you're creating a prompt on give me top 5 questions to ask in an HR interview for somebody who is interviewing for the role of a business analyst. For example, which is the most significant project you've worked in the last 5 years? Now, I'm giving ChatGPT an exemplar for it to understand this is the kind of output I would want, right? So that helps. Now, like any human, when ChatGPT gives you a response, it might not be the way that you want it. So it's important to iterate and refine that, keep changing the prompt and try to get to what you really want. And that's where ChatGPT is beautiful. It responds to your further queries. It responds very well to your further prompts as long as you follow the parameters of the best practice. Avoid ambiguity. It's like any other human. If we get ambiguous directions from anybody, we get confused. Same for ChatGPT as well. It's always good to use constraints. For one example, how long would you want the report for? You want 100 words, 500 words, 1000 words? What is the output you're looking for? So telling the Chat GPT that kind of constraint the output you want, it's great to have that in the prompt as well. Now, do I want this report in a text format? Do you want it in a tabular format? Do you want it in bullet points? What is the structure? What are the constraints you want it to have while creating the output is very, very important. And then if you're not getting the right answer, the right output with a particular prompt, try altering with different variations. So might change the words, might change the structure of the prompt till you get what you're looking for. And then if it's a complex requirement, it's always great to break it down as well. Again, it's like when talking to a human being. If you give multi-step instructions, the human might get confused. Same happens with ChatGPT as well. If you have a complex requirement, break it down into different steps and then give it to ChatGPT. Now, we will quickly run through all of these again with very short examples so you can understand what we're trying to convey. So when we say be clear and specific, so for example, if I ask, tell me about Indo-Pak War, is one way of asking. I could be more specific and also ask, provide a summary of the causes and effects of the Indo-Pak War of 1965. Right? We fought multiple wars with them. Which one? So be specific in the way you ask your queries. Context. Context helps understand what is the nature and the background of the request, the framework within which ChatGPT has to give you a response. Now, one example is summarize the key points of the attached quarterly financial reports, focusing on revenue and expenses only. Now, an annual report can have a quarterly report can have a lot of different factors. It could have costs, it could have investments, a lot of the things. But I only wanted to focus on revenue and expenses. So, giving that context is very, very important to get the kind of output that you seek in your responses. Now, the tone and style. Do you want it to be formal, like an email? Do you want it to be casual? Do you want it to be reprimanding? Do you want it to be congratulatory? So all the words that you can use, the adjectives that you can use to understand the kind of output, to get the engine to understand the kind of output you want is really, really helpful in getting the right output. Examples. So like we spoke about the hiring questions, again, generate a list of questions for a job interview, like this, tell me about yourself, why do you want to work here? This allows ChatGPT to understand the kind of questions you want to ask, the tonality in which you want the questions to ask, and then it will give you ample amount of options to choose from. Giving examples is one of the best hacks out there to get the right response out. Because for the engine to understand what are you really asking of it, the best way to give examples, which is true for humans as well. You might explain a concept to someone, but unless and until you give accurate and clear examples, it might not be that easy for them to understand. The same rule applies for ChatGPT as well. And breaking down complex tasks. So write a research paper or break it down, create an outline for a research paper on climate change, then write an introduction based on the outline as well. Now, sometimes we expect to, if we ask ChatGPT to create a lengthy report, now it is not explicitly mentioned by OpenAI, but there are certain character restrictions on both what you can input as a prompt in the ChatGPT window and the response it can bring out, right? And then it's easy to break it down into multiple steps. Later on, you can collate that into a single document as well. uh, iterate and refine. So if one prompt doesn't work, move to the other one. So example is start with the general prompt and refine. So summarize the book 1984, or summarize the themes and main plots points of the book 1984. I think we have a question from Atul. Atul, can you pin the prompts or switch between multiple prompts? If you log into Chat GPT with your account, if you create an account over there, all your prompts are kind of stored in the history. So you can go back to your different prompts. But the way Chat GPT works is it starts with a particular conversation, and it goes through those iterations. Now you can create a new conversation, but your older conversation are typically saved in your profile. So if you have a logged in user, you'll get to see your older profiles on the tab. We'll come to the Chat GPT window when we get into the practical part of this training. Avoid ambiguity. So instead of asking what's happening, specify what are the current trends in renewable energy. So again, try to be as specific, try to be as clear for the Chat GPT to understand. And then use constraints, like we said, number of words, output format, how would you want it to work? And then work with different variations. If list the pros and cons of electric car doesn't work, then you can ask in a different manner. What are the advantages and disadvantages of electric vehicles? So depending in which prompt you got a better response, try to play around with your words, with the vocabulary, with the terms that you use for it to understand and give the right output as such. Right? Now, all the best practices, if you've understood, I want to give you a quick, simple prompting formula. Right? Uh, the 6 things you need to be very, very clear about is the prompt has to have a task in it, right? Uh, what is the task? If I write Olympics 2024 India, this is a task. What am I asking it to do? Am I asking you to tell me about the Olympics? Am I asking you to talk about the athletes at the Olympics or a report? So your task is one of the most important parts of your prompt. Then the context, examples, persona, the format, and tone. And these aspects of the prompt are in the reducing order of importance. So mentioning a task in your prompt is absolutely mandatory, right? It is to get the right prompt, to get the right output, you need to specify, give me a report, give me a summary, can you analyze, can you shorten? So that task is very, very important for it to be part of the prompt. Context and examples are great as well, right? It's important to give context and examples. The other 3 parts are good to have. If you can mention the persona you wanted to assume. So let's say if we go back to the same example of creating the report, what persona you wanted to have is as a sports journalist, as a student, or what you need to have a persona as well. So if you can, if you don't remember anything else, just remember this formula and try to use it in all your prompts. Now, I want to give a very clear disclaimer. Not all prompts have to have all six. I will leave it to your judgment. There, it is important to get the right part of the prompt uh, there in the structure. Now, let's give an example as well. Now, this is a generic prompt. Now, I can also write at ChatGPT that write something about bedtime routines. It will still give me an output. It's not that ChatGPT will not give you an output. It might be a great output, it might not be great output. But how do we ensure we get the greatest outputs ever is to follow this formula. And look at a prompt like this. Write an informative article. So you're telling ChatGPT the task is you need to write an informative article. So basically, an article will give a lot of information. It's not a critical article. It's not a entertaining article. It's an informative article. You're also telling it the context in which you want the output is for a parenting blog. Now, if I'm a content writer and I am responsible for writing a parenting blog, I would want to mention what is the blog about? What is the context within which you want the output? So, write an informative article for a parenting blog about the importance of establishing a bedtime routine for toddlers. I've given the context, right? Now I'm giving examples. I can also give examples of the articles should be similar to those on parenting.com. Now, I, as a content writer, understand parenting.com is probably the gold standard of content around parenting. So I want ChatGPT to assume you are writing a content of that level, right? Written in a friendly and experienced parent's voice. So I'm telling it the persona as well, that you act like an experienced parent. Now, when any of us who is a parent out there would understand that when you have any issues with your young ones, you always go to someone in the family or your circle who's an experienced parent, you're asking it to have a similar voice. Now, the tone, use a conversational and supportive tone. So you want the blog post to be conversational. It shouldn't sound like it's a dictation. It is sounding like you're talking to a human being and supportive in the sense, and format it as a blog post with clear heading and bullet points wherever possible. So it's easy to read. It is not one single long paragraph. I want title clearly. I want bullet points of key points, and I want it to look like a blog post that people would want to actually read. This is the breakdown structure of a great prompt. If you've understood everything so far here, trust me, your ChatGPT game is 90% sorted. Like I said, you figure out prompting, the right structure of prompting, you will get the right output every time. Otherwise, you'll keep playing around. Again, like imagining talking to a human being, you don't give the right instructions, they do something wrong. Again, you give correction, they do something wrong, and this iteration will keep going around. And when you set out to save time while using ChatGPT, you end up wasting time trying to get the right output. And you'll say, okay, this is not for me, I'm going out. So to ensure we get the right output every time, it is important to figure out the structure of a good prompt. Try to follow it as much as you can. And like I said, the mandatory is the task to be mentioned, what you want. Important is context and exemplar. And based on your request, on the information that you require, it's good to have the persona, format, and tone. Great. Uh, right. Okay. Now, okay. So we'll just dive right into the practical part of it. How do you use ChatGPT for drafting emails? Now, this section might seem very basic, but it's for those who have joined us who have never used it for emails. It's a brilliant tool to start using uh, emails. I'm going to move to the ChatGPT screen. Is the screen visible to everyone? The ChatGPT window? Great. So let's say I want to write an email uh, to my manager about let's say asking for leave, right? Asking for leave. Let's start with a very simple example. Now I'm going to try uh, using a very simple prompt this time. Write an email asking my manager for a 5-day leave. This is what most of us would typically write and say enter, gone. Now let's see what the output I've got, right? Great. Dear manager, I hope this email finds you well. I am writing to formally request absence for 5 days, blah blah blah. Reasons. Now this is a template, generic template request that you want. Now can I fine tune it even more, right? Can I fine tune it to make it sound more professional, to make it sound more reasonable, and not sound like I've copied without checking what I'm putting out there, right? Right. Email requesting for. Now, the task is, can you write an email requesting for context, 5 days leave for personal reasons. Also, add that I would be ensuring all my pending tasks are complete, and in case of urgency, I am urgent matter, I have deputed so and so in my stead. Please sound, it's always great to ask please, professional and courteous. Keep the email short, under 150 words. Let's see what the output is. Simple. Nobody likes reading long emails. If you don't like writing long emails, nobody likes reading long emails as well, right? So depending on what the use case is, you can keep on changing the prompt and asking the kind of email that you would want to write. Uh, it saves a lot of time, it saves a lot of energy, it saves a lot of mental bandwidth as well. You don't spending all the mental energy on writing emails. Be very, very clear on how to uh, start writing emails as such. Now imagine I need to write, I need to respond to a particular email. So we have different scenarios. Let's take a different scenario right now. Is I've got, I'm responding to a report request by a client. Okay, we have some questions coming in. Can we also build reports and PPT using GPT? Yes, we can build reports and presentation. We will come into that right after this section. I'll show you how a presentation can be made using ChatGPT, and another method we call it Canva as well, right? So write a reply to a client. The client is asking that I want to inquire about the timeline on the project this and this. Can you provide an update on the current status and timeline for the upcoming stages? Right? On a project update and timelines for the next next 8 months. The key information is the project is on schedule and all deliveries are being met. It's okay if you make spelling mistakes. That's fine. ChatGPT understands that much. Let's see what the output is. Now, this gives you a slight easy structure. Now you can populate the information separately on month one, month two, month three, and get the kind of output that you're looking for, right? So uh, you can also use ChatGPT to summarize longer emails. If you have a longer email coming from someone, just copy paste and say summarize this email for me, right? Use it for follow-up emails as well. That if you have sent an email to someone, just copy that mail and say send a follow-up status request this particular email. So it helps you faster in this particular process. What we'll now look at is a bonus tool which is specifically for uh, Chrome users. So if you're using Chrome and specifically if you're using any web-based browser like Gmail or Microsoft Email, this add-on works over there. You just need to go to chatgptwriter.ai, install the web add-on on Chrome. You will get the add-on installed. Just log in using your email ID as well. So what would happen is once you go into your email, so imagine I got this email from a particular partner. Now I've got this information, I want to respond to them. This icon would start appearing in your inbox. So I'm going to use this ChatGPT writer icon, click over here and say, I would say reply to this email. I can also choose which engine to use, Gemini 1.5 or ChatGPT. Let's use ChatGPT. I want to sound professional, short, and reply to this mail. I would get back to them in 5 days. Generate. And you have your response here. Insert and then send. So there are a lot of add-ons that are available on Chrome Store and other browser-based applications where you can fasten this process of creating uh, responses as such. Uh, I think there is available for Edge as well. I'm not sure myself. It would be great if you guys can go and explore. But most browsers have add-ons available where they integrate either ChatGPT or any other kind of response out there. Is there a limit? Another question we have is there a limit of prompts? Uh, in ChatGPT 3.5, there isn't any limit that we face so far. There is a limit on the number of characters that the response can be on. Uh, what I think ChatGPT started doing now is it gives you a certain time limit access of ChatGPT 4.0, which is the paid version, also for the free users, but for a certain amount of prompts in a particular day. But you can revert back to the free version of 3.5 anytime that you want. Right? Now, emails is done. Let's move to the next part, which is creating presentation. I think a lot of you have been asking, and I saw that in the this, the poll as well. How to create presentations quickly, right? Uh, the basic process remains is first we create the outline, which is like the title of the slide and each slide and the key points, right? You put that in the presentation and then you design. And that's typically what we also do. When we create presentations from scratch, from on our own manually, we enter all the information that we want to present, put that in a structure, and then start the designing part, and that presentation is ready. So we're going to follow the same process, but we're going to use two different methods, which is ChatGPT. First is we're going to use ChatGPT to create the outline, and then we're going to put that into presentation and then see how we can design a presentation with that. And the second method we're going to use is using Canva. Now, Canva, luckily, which is has its own inbuilt ChatGPT functionality. You don't have to use separate windows of ChatGPT to create the content and then copy paste onto the presentation. You can do it within itself. Okay, so let's go back to ChatGPT and create a 5 slide. I'm giving a constraint. Remember the formula: presentation for class 5th students on, to my audience, solar system as a science teacher, right? Uh, mention, title, slide, and key info in bullet points. Uh, Hopefully, we'll do a presentation, how to create the presentation session view sometime later on. But the rule for any presentation is 555, 5 slides, 5 key points, and maximum 5 bullet points per key point. That should be a basic rule. Anything more than that, and you will lose your audience. So I know today we also have more than that, but try limiting the amount of text you have on your presentation. Okay, now let's create what the outline looks like. Mission outline. You have your title slide, you have introduction, you have the planets, the moon, asteroids, and comets, and fun facts and quiz. So now you have your content ready, right? Now there are two methods in which you can post this content into the PowerPoint deck, right? One is simple, I copy and paste by to each slide. Second is uh, I can use a VBA editor as well. Now, looking at the audience today, let's do the first part today, and maybe we can do the VBA version if we have time remaining at the end of the session. So VBA basically means it's a developer language which ChatGPT will give you the output in VBA, and what it allows you to do is copy this content automatically into 5 different slides. You don't have to copy paste one by one into each slide as such. It can automatically populate all those 5 slides for you. So for the sake of simplicity for today, this is just the beginner level session we're doing today. Let's go to PowerPoint. Start a new presentation. Right now, I can just copy the content. As you can see, this is adding manually. There is a faster version to do this. I hope we get time at the end of the session to do this automatically, right? So anyways, we can keep on adding later on. Now you can choose any template and add it. Now there's a brilliant function that sorry, PowerPoint has, which is designer. What it does is it creates design ideas for your slide based on the content. I'm just waiting for it to respond. For some reason, it is not working as of now, but usually it does. Yeah. So depending on the content itself, it will give you multiple options of what designs you want to use. And it is as simple as one click and the slide is ready, right? Now let's look at if I add this part into the slide. I have my title and I have the bullet points. I go to designer and I can have a design of my choice. So one click and the entire slide gets formatted, right? Now this is still better than creating on your own, but it is not as quick as generating it through a code. So time permitting, if you have time at the end of the session, I would love to show you how this can be done with a single click itself. The entire deck gets created with single code, and you also get to see the design done in one single go, right? So this is how you can use ChatGPT to create content outline, copy it into PowerPoint, and use the designer mode for creating your own presentation. Now, can we use Canva? So let's start using, see if we can use Canva. Uh, how many of you have used Canva in the past? I'm sure a lot of you have, which is a particularly popular, popular design tool. Great. So what you need to go is you go into your Canva homepage, right? Look at this doc icon. Don't go into presentation, go into doc icon. Click on this. For some reason, the system is kind of slow today, but let's see if we can. Right? Okay. So the first button that you see on your top this toolbar is Magic Write. You click on Magic Write, right? Create a presentation on solar system for class 5 students, and you click generate. Now, what ChatGPT gave us as the structure, it is quite similar to that, right? But we haven't given the constraint that we did there, that 5 slides and bullet points. So let's see what is the difference in the output over here. So you have fun facts, you have a conclusion, and then you have end. Now I click on insert. I have my structure ready here, the outline of the presentation ready, right? And then all I do is go to Magic Switch and convert to presentation. Now it will ask what template, what design that you want. For some reason, my system is not behaving as fast as we would want it to. Okay, so we have the first design option over here. Let's just see if we can get some more options. Yeah, okay. So we have few other design options out here. Let's see which one. I want to pick this one. There's some round shapes in it. And then I click on create my presentation. So while this technology gives us a lot of, a good starting point to work from, you don't have to do from scratch. But I would always advise that any output that you get, just see manually if you can improve it, you want to change it. But it does the majority of heavy lifting for you, right? So Canva is a paid app. Yes, Canva is a paid app, but the free version allows you to do a lot of these functionalities as well. It might not give you access to all the themes or all the content or all the elements out there, but basic functionalities do allow you to create presentation. Now, if you Google, there are a lot of other tools out there in the market as well, which say that you can create great presentation. I've tried probably 7, 8 of them. As of today, none of them are at a stage where you can say one click and the presentation is out the way you want to. But at least it is at a certain stage where there are enough enough work done by the AI so that now I can go and customize, add images, change this, reorder slide, delete, add. That can be done. And yes, you can download the PowerPoint from Canva as well. So you can download from Canva. You can go into share, and whether you want to download as a PDF or a PowerPoint, you can do that as well. You click on download, file type, and you can choose. If you want to convert your PowerPoint into a video, you can do that as well. But if you want PPTX version, that can also be done using Canva. Great. So enough time, currently, let's come back to what we were talking about. So like I mentioned, it's not the perfect solution out there where it can create awesome presentations on its own without you intervening in between. But at least it does the heavy lifting of giving you outputs which are uh, much ahead of, let's say, a starting point, right? Ekta, how much time do we have remaining?
Yeah, we have another 10-15 minutes.
Sure. Great. Let's try to ask now. There are a lot of other things that I want to talk about, but I think with the time remaining, I'm going to pick a few tools out there. If I can pick two out of these five, I'm going to pick uh, this question about data. I will come back to that, Sam. I will answer that at the end. Project plans. Great. Mr. Vishwanath, you have kind of preempted my next tool. The next tool is called FigJam. All the developers in the session today would have heard of Figma, which is used for by a lot of designers to design the front end part of applications and websites. Now, FigJam is a subset of that. It's a freemium tool, so there's a free version as well, plus a paid version also. I'm going to. It's a really beautiful tool. We will just do a couple of use cases, but in this one tool, you get to see so much. Uh, it is brilliant. So most of these web-based tools have started integrating AI into it, and I would implore that all of you have taken time to attend this session today. Do not let this be the journey's end. Please start exploring on your own, depending on what you want. Ms. Munmon, are legal transition possible? Yes, they are really possible. In fact, ChatGPT is known to be the best use case for legal work. Uh, a full submission in our company, all our legal work, groundwork is done by ChatGPT. It's brilliant. Please try using it as well. Meeting summary. Yes, quick answer to that. I thought I would show you the tool, but Zoom has a AI companion add-on which can summarize all your meetings, send you an email at the end of it, who attended, what are the key points, and what are the actionables. So if you have a paid Zoom account, go into Zoom, enable AI companion, and it will do summaries for you beautifully. So all those meetings that we attend for hours and hours, and at the end of it, sometimes you don't know what will be done after that. This can help you with that task. Okay. Now coming back to Figma, to FigJam. Now when I click on generate, all these options are available, and I'm sure at least one of them would be applicable to each one of you. Now, whether I want to create a mind map are those graphic organizers. They are basically a way of presenting ideas and thoughts in a structured manner. So you can create mind maps, flowcharts. All these solution designers, architects, brilliant. Use flowcharts. You can create over here. Gantt chart. Anyone involved in project management can use a Gantt chart. Let's see if I can create a Gantt chart. And then there are HR managers in the house, org charts, or startup founders, org charts, or anyone who is looking at using this is brilliant. You can give a few easy prompts, and it will create a generic org chart for you. Then you can go and customize it as well. What I want to really focus on today is the Gantt chart part of it, because project management is something that affects most industries and as such. Okay, so let's say I want a Gantt chart. I want to create a Gantt chart for a 3-month go to market uh, project for launching an insurance product, right? Now, uh, starting from September, generate. Now, the tools that I'm showing you today, these are not the only tools that are available for doing these tasks. You can search online. You can find a lot of other options as well. But the ones I'm choosing right now is because I and my team feels comfortable using these. So now you have a very generic but making sense kind of a Gantt chart available. So you have activities of market research, marketing strategy, product development, sales prep, launch, and post-launch, right? And then it tells you in the first week you do competitor analysis, you do target audience identification, you develop a market plan, and so on and so forth, right? Now that's not all. What you can also do is use this for presenting, and so essentially FigJam is a collaboration tool. It allows for teams to work well together. Now, if that is the reason why you're using this, it is a brilliant tool. Another great feature is you can zoom out and zoom in as much as you want to. So you can keep on adding more details, more milestones, more structures as such. What you can also do is, wait, add stickers. You can run meetings. What I really wanted to show you was if you can add, like, I'm not able to find the option. I have changed it since the last time I used it personally. Give me a second, guys. Just bear with me. So let's first move the section. Just a second. Yeah, I think I found it. New slide deck. Okay. So now imagine I'm responsible for managing this Gantt chart and I'm the project owner. But at each and every stage, there's an update I need to give to my management. So I need a short presentation. What FigJam allows you to do is create a slide deck, right? I really wished it was not this slow. But essentially, what you can do is you can create a slide deck, like a short update to the project. You can choose a template, you can add your slides, you can add your content. And once you do that, you just need to copy this link, right? And depending what stage you're at, you need to hyperlink your and paste the slide URL over here and save it. So now if you as a team are reviewing this on that particular day, what is the status of uh, product development during there, and just click on this and you can have your slide deck open. So within one single tool, you're able to track your project. You can define timelines. You can in this also assign section. So if I want that this particular person is responsible for social media promotion, I can share only this section with that person. The others will that person will not be able to edit the other part of the timeline. So it allows me to have a single dashboard of the entire project, add presentation, add comments, add tasks, add milestones, while distribute these workflows to different teams and then take updates from there as well. So it's a brilliant tool. The free version allows you a single page, which I think is adequate to get started with. Like all tools, I recommend my users is learn to use a tool first, exploit all the free options, and only when you reach the limit that this is great, I still want to continue, then go for a paid version. But most tools right now nowadays have enough options for you to start using from a free version. And only when you exploit all the free resources available, then would I recommend you go to a paid version. Uh, if we have time, can I squeeze in translation? Ekta? Just it'll take a couple of minutes. Okay, there's not much to show. What I would just want to iterate is we typically use Google Translate for all our translation purposes, right? Uh, if you're traveling abroad, if you're working in a multicultural environment, my recommendation start using ChatGPT. The significant difference in Google Translate or any other translate tool, I'm not dissing Google right now, and ChatGPT or any other Gen AI because, and this is my personal experience when I travel abroad for my work, what I would say in English and then I would translate, it's a literal translation. What Google Translate mostly or quite often does not include is the context in which I'm talking, right? In that sense, ChatGPT, which is also available for free version on a mobile app, you can download ChatGPT app on your mobile phones, start using it for translation. And I know there are limitations there as well. It doesn't have a text to audio function that Google Translate does. But if there's a challenge in getting the context in the right message across, ChatGPT is far better performing than Google Translate on translation services. Right? I think that's the time we have today. I would love to have some questions if you guys can ask. Uh, Before you get to the questions, I want to quickly run through and this is the important part. The very important part is using AI ethically. Now, I think we've had enough discussions and debates happening at national level, international level, and I know I'm from the education space, and I've seen schools and colleges debate this to death's end. That is AI good or not? Is AI bad? I think the debate also is valid in a corporate workplace environment. These are tools. These are tools not to replace you, but to help you. So when you're writing an email, please make sure you vet what is output given by ChatGPT. It has to sound like you. So when I use any of these tools, the last step before I bring it out to the world, send to someone, is me vetting it critically. Unfortunately, all these models like ChatGPT and all, they're quite prone to misinformation as well. And as humans, we don't always have the capability of knowing which is right or wrong. So to be safe, always evaluate every response very critically, right? It's always good if you're getting a presentation. You don't want to be wrong. If you're sending an email, you want to sound wrong. Always do a quick web check to see if it's accurate or not, right? Uh, just don't copy and paste. It's not uh, it's not at that stage where ChatGPT is going to always give you the right answers. It mostly does, but like any other technology, it is prone to errors and faults. So you need to ensure that you always check what the output is like, right? Another suggestion, although OpenAI has very strict privacy norms, never input your personal information or sensitive information in a prompt. Always use placeholders or name holders. So if I'm writing, hi, I am Vishal, and no, hi, I am dash or X. Try not giving personal information. Uh, we don't want any personally identified information, mobile numbers, email IDs, names, all that to go. So always avoid using this. Use templates, extract those templates, and then make changes manually if you want. Guys, the third point, I don't really have to say it, don't use it for wrong purposes. There are a lot of policies OpenAI has, but it is, especially in a workplace environment where sensitivity is very, very important. Tried avoiding misuse of AI. So pranks and all are fine, but try to avoid. And then the last part, like I said, plagiarism. Although ChatGPT has a inbuilt plagiarism tool, but when you're copy and pasting, I'm not saying don't copy and paste, but either make enough changes so it starts being your own content. It sounds like sounding like you, or always attribute. There's nothing wrong in attributing that this report was generated using ChatGPT, but always attribute or make sure you make enough changes to make it sound more authentic. This is the gist of today's presentation. Any questions, please go ahead and ask. I would love to answer as much as I can.
So thank you, Vishal, for such an enlightening session and a practical session. I'm sure that everyone here has gained a lot of valuable insight and experience to use this AI tools. So we have certain questions under the Q&A section. So we can take it this particular questions. And we have also launched a feedback poll. So please, I request everyone to participate in this feedback poll. This will help us to curate such more session in future. Yeah, Vishal, we can take this questions. So, the first question is like ChatGPT is searching the internet or on the data trained to it by Microsoft. Can I have a ChatGPT AI that can work on set of designs in my machine?
So ChatGPT, I don't know if it's not for design. It's only a text-based tool. So I'm not sure how would you want to use it for design. You can use it for content that goes into designs, but it is typically a text-based generative tool. There are other design-based tools out there. Canva has a lot of inbuilt tools as well, and like I said, Figma is also used for design. You can use a lot of different design AI-based tools to get your design work done. But yes, ChatGPT is, like I said, it's a large language model. It analyzes data from the internet, from different sources, from books online available, from websites and all. And then that data is processed using its engines to give you the right output. But yes, the data, like I saw one more question, till when? It is only updated till the last that I am aware of, it is till September 2021. So you might not find the latest content out there. If you're looking for latest content, then you might have to go to Gemini from Google.
So there is one more question, like any possible legal issue with content given by ChatGPT? Can we assume ChatGPT will take care of the legal aspect of copyright issues won't be there?
So OpenAI clearly mentions that they have given a license, which is an open license for its content to be used for any purposes, right? But I would always recommend that depending on what your use is, certain organizations allow it to be used, certain don't allow it to be used. My suggestion is use it like a assistant, right? But always have your own checks and balances in place. Just don't copy and paste. But OpenAI gives license for its content. Now, whether it is the textual output from ChatGPT or its graphic tool called Dolly or any other tool that OpenAI has, it gives an open license for its content to be used for free and commercial use as well.
So there is one more question on information on custom instruction. So I was primarily seeking information on custom instruction, how to use. Can you guide a bit?
Mr. Atul, are you referring to creating your own GPT tool, or I'm not sure what you mean by custom instructions? Because if you take the paid version of ChatGPT, you can create your own GPT, but that requires some development or some understanding of functional understanding of development at least.
It's for prompts.
All prompts are custom in that sense. If I'm not getting the question, if you can elaborate, what do you mean by custom instructions? While Mr. Atul replies, Mr. Sureshpal, like Gmail, can we add ChatGPT in Outlook for email reply? I haven't tried, to be honest. We are a completely Google platform organization. but it would be great if you could go out and test it out if Outlook has ChatGPT. If not ChatGPT, at least I think the web version might have some AI inbuilt functionality. Can we use unlimited searches prompts in ChatGPT, right? I think so. I have never faced a stage where it is saying no more. It allows you certain searches for the latest version ChatGPT 4, but the ChatGPT 3.5 version, which is free, we've not found a restriction as such. Can we use GPT for medical diagnosis? Like for our project, we need a LLM chatbot in our healthcare application. Yes, I know of a lot of organizations that are using GPT for basic medical diagnosis, but I would always recommend that there has to be uh, uh, a qualified medical professional vetting all outputs that you're creating, right? But in this sense, Ms. Gurpreet, you can train your own GPT. You can have a developer do that for you, at least for basic, symptom analysis, diagnostic part of the that can be done. I would still request keep the recommendations vetted through a professional, medical professional.
So I guess Atul has already replied that in your profile section, we can set up custom instruction. Like in by
So,
log
so,
into the chat GPT itself, can we have this profile section in
so
custom
ChatGPT, so ChatGPT allows you to build your own profile where you can tell it more about yourself. So it is basically pre-training it for all your requests further on. That you can have a custom setting that I am, let's say, a marketing professional working in an automobile sector, right? So that filter will always remain in your profile, which will allow it to, customize its responses based on what you have given in your profile section. Can we customize this ChatGPT LLM? ChatGPT, if you have the paid version, so there are two things now. There's a API interaction and then there's a custom GPT. Now, API basically is you integrating ChatGPT as is, and based on the paid plan that you take, you can integrate this to your platform and you can keep requesting ChatGPT for custom responses, and it will give you response. Now, if you want your own GPT, which is you're training on your own data for a long period of time, that also is done, but then that's using the paid version for customizing your own GPT. That both these scenarios are possible. Mr. Karthikeyan, I was in two minds whether to get into Excel today or not. Unfortunately, the time didn't allow. But yes, MS Excel has amazing level of opportunities with ChatGPT. You can do amazing stuff. I already had one example today of, I was hoping we had enough time to show you what ChatGPT can do in Excel. But what ChatGPT also allows you to is embed yourself within Excel, at least some versions of it. And you can use that for a lot of applications, from very simple creating formulas to doing pivots to doing data analysis to a lot of other things. We use ChatGPT for a lot of our customer feedback work. So once we do training sessions and we have feedback form where we get responses, what we do is we do a sentiment analysis, that what is the general feedback, and then we can also customize that, analyze all this feedback, let's say from 100 people, and I want it to give actionable insights to all my teams. So if there is a feedback for the content team, it will go there. If there's a feedback for the sales team, it will go there. If there's a feedback for customer support team, it will go there. So it's a brilliant way of analyzing data from Excel as well. Thank you, Mr. Satish. Thank you, Mr. Kathiravan, for your question.
So I guess Vishal, we will catch up soon with the
Sure.
another set of queries that we have got the suggestion on Excel,
Right,
on presentations and all. So
right, right.
surely we will conduct one session on Excel and on presentation as well
Would
very
love to.
soon with Vishal. So till the time that we are wrapping up this particular session, I encourage you all to take what you have learned today and apply it to your projects. And of course, share your experience with your colleagues and let's spread the knowledge that we have gained today. So thank you all for being such an engaging audience. We will look forward to seeing you at our future sessions. Have a great day ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ekta. Thank you for your interactions, for your lovely questions. We hope to have done justice. I would love to be back for a session like this and probably go deeper into different parts of what AI can do for you all in your personal life. Thank you, Ekta. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Vishal.